I'm Joe Chili, and you can listen to me mornings on the Big Weck. Joining us today on the Big Weck's Buffalo on the Rise is John Richmond from Richmond Vona. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. Now, all your entire life, you've wanted to be an attorney, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that says I was a little boy. That's right.
The funny thing is, I talked to you about this previously. The interesting way that you became an attorney is you were a goalie for playing hockey, and everybody was depending on you. And you said, "I want to do something that's similar to that." And that's kind of a weird channel to kind of get into it, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any lawyers in my family, but growing up my whole life, I was a hockey goalie, like a lot of kids here in Western New York. And over time, I realized that I really liked the idea of my teammates and people being able to rely on me. I like the idea of being able to operate under pressure and kind of learning what you're made of in those circumstances. So it kind of, in a weird way, led me to being a lawyer and ultimately opening a firm that's dedicated to helping people.
Now, when you talk about personal injury law firms, I take it that as with attorneys or whatever, there are no two firms are identical. No two firms are the same or whatever the case may be. What should you really look for in a personal injury law firm?
Sure, and you're absolutely right. No two firms are the same, and it's just really, really important that you take the time to select the firm that's right for you. Because at the end of the day, you really only have one shot at being compensated for everything that you've gone through and that you're going to go through. So at the end of the day, again, it's important to take your time and really look at firms and ask yourself, hey, what is their communication styles like? What is their experience like? Do they have experience in this type of case? And what is their reputation like? And you can go online these days and look on Google, look on their website, and really take your time, talk to your friends and family, and involve them in the decision, and ultimately choose the firm that's going to be right for you.
When you talk about attorneys, I kind of liken them to doctors sometimes because, no two attorneys are the same, no two doctors are the same. Just because you're a doctor doesn't mean the fact that you can specialize in everything, right? So when it comes to attorneys, there are attorneys that specialize in certain areas of law.
Exactly, and it's like we always talk about it with doctors. If you have a heart condition, you're not going to go to a podiatrist. And same in our field, if you have a personal injury matter, you want to really make sure you take the time to choose a firm that only does personal injury law. Because in this day and age, there are a lot of different types of personal injury law, but we really live in a niche environment, so you want to focus on a firm that spends all their time, all their energy into becoming sort of, I don't want to say experts, but really understanding what it takes to be in that field and understanding the intricacies of those cases.
And what about when you're looking for a firm? Is it important for that firm to be local? Should you be looking for people that gave their opinion of these firms, or things of this nature? I mean, when you go to restaurants, and I don't like to compare attorneys to restaurants or law firms, but you may look online and say, okay, what kind of reviews do these individuals get? What's important? Somebody to be local, somebody the reviews, what should they look for?
They're both important, and really, it's at the end of the day, reviews are extremely important because you're getting to hear from local people who've had an experience with this firm, and need to see what their experience was like. How did the firm treat them? And not just the attorneys, what were the non-attorneys like? Because that's really, really important. And I do think it's really important to have a local firm for your case, because a local firm will understand all the local players, will sort of understand you, understand the community, and all these factors can really come into play and make a big impact on the ultimate success of your case.
When you're talking about personal injury law, what should you watch out for? I mean, is it unusual for someone to get in an accident and all of a sudden get a call from a law firm and say, hey, look, we want to offer you so much money for this accident? Is that just a TV thing? Is that fictional, or do those things happen?
Well, I hope that doesn't happen, because that's not allowed under the ethical rules.
Really?
But no, you shouldn't be solicited by any attorney. But what I would say is, you really want, when you're thinking about a personal injury law firm, again, get to know that firm, go to that firm, meet the people, go to different firms, and ultimately make sure you understand your different options, because really no two firms are the same. And make sure it's a firm that if the case had to go to trial, they have real trial lawyers who can really hold those insurance companies accountable at the end of the day.
Now, when you go to a firm, are you interviewed, and do you get interviewed more than once? What's the procedure?
So when you call a personal injury firm after you've been in an accident, you'll first start off with a phone consultation, and then you should expect to be asked to come into the office, or they should offer to come to you in person. You'll then spend some time with the attorney and with the team that's going to be assigned to your case, and that's when you really get to, honestly, you're interviewing the law firm. Of course, a law firm like ours is going to ask you questions to understand the case, understand how this has affected you and your family. But really, at the end of the day, the attorney works for you, the injured person. So you are the one interviewing them, and you should feel free to ask them any questions you like.
And should you, I hate to ask this, go to more than one firm?
100%. We always encourage people and we say, hey, if you're not comfortable with us, go speak to other law firms. It's just like anything in life. If you're making a really important decision, you want to have your options and ultimately choose who's going to be right for you, because you're going to spend a long time in some cases with these firms. So you want to make sure it's someone who's going to communicate well, and it's someone you trust, and someone who ultimately is going to have your best interest in mind and fight for you all the way.
All right, in our final minute and a half in this segment, what are the most important things to consider? What should people have written down, or what questions should they ask when they get to the firm?
So number one, you want to feel them out. You want to sort of see what the environment is like and see who these people are. Do they seem happy? Do they seem like they want to be at this firm, like they want to help you? But then when you get into like the nitty gritty and asking questions, you want to ask about their experience in your type of case. What are their results like? You want to look into their reputation, and you want to talk about their communication style. Like, how often are they going to talk to you? How are they going to keep you updated? Can they text you? Can they call you? Are they available 24/7? Firms like ours in this day and age really should be available 24/7 to help you anytime you need it, because things pop up, not just between 9 and 5, but at night and at other times. So they need to be available for you 24/7.
That's really important. John Richmond, thank you very much for joining us today. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Richmond Vona by calling 716-500-5678 or go to richmondvona.com. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment provided by the following: